Hello, I came across this about a week ago, and the first thing I did was exactly what I keep doing right now, which is clicking and nothing's happening. And that's because the click only works on the ball itself, which is not how I'd expect such a control to work. Now, some people might know I'm also not a fan of recreating such things with divs, and that's because of what has happened here. Like, I try to click something and it doesn't work as expected. That's why I'm going to recreate this using a checkbox. I'm not going to use the Christmas theme. I'm going to use a fruity theme. So I have the SVGs right here, and they're hand-coded, but I'm not going to go into how I did this. And that's because I did a video before, and you can go watch that video and see how I hand-coded this nail, and it's exactly the same technique. I started from this image of various fruit and, rotated it so that I can have it in the right position, and then picked up the colors, which you can see in the CSS here. But for now, let's get started with the structure. So as I said, we're going to start with an input, and I'm going to give it an ID. I don't know what else to call it, and it's going to be a checkbox, as I said before. And now I'm going to have a label for it. So label for, okay, and within it I'm going to have a span, okay, and then I'm going to have a toggle element, and this is going to be the actual toggle thing, and it's going to have a thumb. Okay, and now I'm going to take this apple and pear thing. I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them within the span, and that means correcting the alignment for everything here. So let's see. This looks just about right. Okay, so here I'm going to have I like, and then I'm going to have a line break, and here better than, and in case anyone is wondering, yes, that's true. Okay, so this is pretty much it for the structure. Now let's start coloring the pear and the apple. So I'm going to have something like each key value in parts. Okay, and here my selector is going to be a class, which I get it from the key, and the fill is going to be the first item in the value, so like this. Okay, so it's starting to look like something, and now that I've done this, I can get rid of this stupid thing right here, so just take it out. Okay, but I am going to want to have a stroke, and it's going to be a similar loop, so it's going to be each key value in peel, except here I'm going to have an attribute selector, and this is going to be ID. Actually, it's going to be exactly equal to, so I'm going to need to interpolate key flesh, and it's not going to be fill, it's going to be stroke. Okay, and then for the use in it, I'm going to have pretty much the same thing, except it's going to use the second one. Now, speaking of use elements, now these are copies of already existing elements, and as you can see here, I have half an apple, and then I have a copy of it, and what I want is to reflect this. So that's going to be for the half. Okay, and here I'm going to have ID contains half. no, it's not ID. That's not what I wanted. I want okay. This is going to give me transform. A reflection, horizontal reflection is a scale x minus 1. So this should give me the full fruit. That's great. Now I also have a use for the flesh. So I have a copy of the flesh, as you can see here. Now I'm going to make this, I've already given it a different stroke. Now I'm also going to make it smaller, but before that, let's make the stroke for all elements. Let's make it thicker. So that's going to be stroke width 3. Okay. Now for the generic thing, so I'm going to have something like and here I'm going to have transform scale 0.97, something like that. And the thing is, not key flesh, key half. True. Okay. Now something else I'm going to want to do is group and everything that has every path that has an element before it is going to have stroke none. Okay, so I don't have that thing around the peels. Now something else I'm going to want to do, and look at this, when it grows bigger I have that nasty gap there. So what I want is stroke line cap round. Okay, this now looks better, but I don't want that clear cut edge there. So what I'm going to do is add a blur filter. Now in Chrome I can't have CSS filters on SVG elements again. Oh wait, I just discovered I forgot to do something. Now one more thing I want to do here. So here, if key is leaf, then I'm going to have pretty much this. What's in there, except with 2. Okay, so that gives me 2 different colors for the leaf. Now what I wanted to do earlier is add a blur filter. So in order to do that, I'm going to have another SVG here, and this is going to be width 0. Okay. And also height 0. I don't have autocomplete here, and it always throws me off. And I'm just going to take the filter from here, because I'm not good with these things. So let's not mess up something that's already working. So let's put that in there. Now the thing is, I have a few more things in there. So it's also this line right here. Okay, so this should give me something pretty nice there. So the next thing here is going to be filter. No. So this is my blur filter. which should have worked on the use. And if for some reason it didn't, okay, now it looks nice. I have done nice filter effect right there. Let's make it slightly bigger. Okay, this looks perfect. Now, one thing I don't like is that the blur spills onto the other side. So something else I'm going to do here is a clip path. So this clip path is a path that's going to start horizontally. I go by minus. Okay, vertically I go to, again, minus. And horizontally I go back to 0. Okay, so this should pretty much do it. So I should add this for the half. So clip path. So this should now do it, and it does. It all looks a lot better. Now let's start arranging the text a bit. So label, this is going to be font, and let's use a calc value that depends both on the base font and on the viewport size. Something like this. And I'm also going to set a line height. Something like this. Then I'm going to use that line height here. Okay. Now something else that I'm going to do for the SVG themselves, I'm going to have them display line block, vertical line middle. Okay, and next I'm going to have a width that's a calc value 1 plus line height times actually no, this is not the line height. Here I'm going to multiply with the line height. And this is going to be a switch. Actually, I'm going to call this M. So I'm going to have the base switch S, which is 0. Then I'm going to have M, and this one is calc. No, actually, it's initially the same. Okay. So the thing is, this should have given me something bigger for the font, I suppose. Okay, this looks good. If I take this line out, is it still going to work? Yeah, it appears so. Anyway, input, position absolute, left. Okay, so now if it's checked, I'm going to add the label after, and I'm going to switch that value to 1. Okay, so I'm done with this. here I'm also going to set margin 0, and then I'm going to be done with this as well. Okay, label. Now for the label, I'm going to set display flex, align item center, justify content center, flex direction column, and I'm also going to set text align center. Okay, so this looks nicer. And then I'm going to have my span, and for last line, this is going to be line height 1. First line. Sorry about that. So now that I'm here, I'm going to have something like this. I'm going to redo M so that it's calc 1 minus. Okay, so now as you can see, they change, and all I'm changing is the value of this switch custom property. This is all I'm changing there with the checked. So yeah, that's great. But I'm going to want to have transition, so let's set a transition duration. Let's say half a second. That should work out fine. So now for the SVG, here I'm going to have transition width and I'm going to use a easing, so I want a ease in kind of function. Sorry, too many tabs. Ease in part, and I'm going to use that here. So let's see. Okay, this looks better. Now, next thing I'm going to want to do that toggle. Let's set some dimensions for it. So it's going to have a width, and it's going to have a height, something. It doesn't really matter. Now here I'm going to set the width, same for the height, and I'm going to set a background just so that we can see stuff. Okay, something else I want here is make it full height, so this. Okay, and now I have that because let's make this absolutely positioned so that it doesn't interfere with stuff. Okay, now for this toggle right here, I'm going to have parts and flesh, something. Okay, and then I'm going to have border radius, that height value. Okay, so this should do it. Then I'm going to have the thumb, and this is going to have the same dimensions, so the same height and width. Okay, and let's give it a background, something, just so that we can see stuff. Sorry, height. And border radius 50%. Also, something else I'm going to do here is box shadow. So I'm not going to have, and this is going to be my spread. Okay, now this is going to be okay, color. Now for the background, I'm going to have current color. Okay, yeah, that's not right there. Okay, now let's do something about the font first of all. Add a custom font so that everything looks prettier. Okay, now let's use this. Where's the label? So okay, this looks nice. Now one more thing I'm going to want to do is fix the height of the span. So the height is going to be a calc value, and this is going to be 1 plus the line height, which I need to interpolate, times 1m. So now that I have the height of this fixed, okay, it's going to work wonders. Now here I'm also going to have a transform, and this is a translate, and again this is a calc value depending on that S switch. So this is going to be times the width minus the height. Okay, so I can add the same transition. So except this is not going to be on the width, it's going to be on the transform. Transform. So yeah, this is working. Actually, let's do this like this. Transition timing function. Okay, so this should pretty much do it. Now the next thing is the background and the thumb. Now for this, I'm going to use a function. So function RGB function, I don't know what else to call it. So I'm going to have the function name, the first color and the second color. So here the first color is going to be actually no, I don't get the function for this. This is going to be for the channel. I was thinking about something else, so thinking in advance. Okay, so return RGB, and here I'm going to have a channel function, and this is going to use the function and the first color and the second color, and this is going to use red. And by the way, usually strings in SAS don't really need to be quoted, but here it's going to take it as the color red and not the string red, which is what I want. So here I need to quote these values: red, green, and blue. Okay. Okay, yeah. So here I'm going to get those colors. Map get peel, apple, and then I'm going to take the first. No, actually I'm going to take the key. So yeah. And this is going to be like this. And I need to do the channel function. So the function, the first color, the second color, return. And this is going to be a calc value, and I'm going to have the switch times, and this I'm going to need to interpolate. So it's call function and then I'm going to have pretty much the same. One minus, this is going to be 0. So now I'm going to have this RGB function, and I'm going to use it as the background for the label. So let's see, background, and here I'm going to use tell me. Okay, nth, yeah. Okay, and what I really wanted was 2. Okay, and now I'm going to do pretty much the same for the toggle, except I'm going to use 1 instead of 2. Okay, now here, transition property, I'm going to have transform and background color, and here I'm also going to have these. Okay, now for the label, transition, and it's going to be again a background color, the same animation duration. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Now I just remembered, have I applied that clip path? So let's see. Okay, so in theory I did it, so that should have worked fine. So maybe that's just a rounding errors or something. Okay, now that reminded me of something. Here I'm going to have a media query, so a media max, something like that, and I'm going to set, let's make this a custom property, and that's its default. So within the media query I'm going to make this like this, and then I'm going to tweak it even further, something like this. Okay, now we can do a bit more here. So for the toggle we can have before and after, content true, and let's make them position absolute, let's make this position relative, let's also make this position relative. Okay, for the after, let's change the content to false. Let's make them width 50%, height 100%. So we don't want their dimensions to depend on the font size. Let's set top 0. Okay. So there's something there that's preventing them from going up, and I wonder what that might be. So let's see, toggle before. Oh, okay. So let's make this font, make it something thicker, smaller. I don't think the line height matters in this case. What was that called? Okay, let's give it a color, map get parts seed. Okay, now something else I'm going to do here is set display flex, align items center. Okay, so one more thing I'm going to do, box sizing, border box, and then I'm going to have padding, something like this. So when I switch it up, okay, now for the after, I'm going to have right 0 so that it's in the other half. Okay. Let's also give it a text shadow. This is going to be something similar to what I have there, except this is going to be core. So it has this as if it's etched in there. Okay. And now something else I'm going to want to do is text transform uppercase. Okay. And one more thing I'm going to want to set is opacity. So yeah. Now something else I'm going to want to set here, like that actually. So this is the other way around. Okay, and I'm going to want to have a nice transition here. So this should do it. Okay, it seems a bit too high up, so let's tweak that a bit still. Something around there. So I'm not going to tweak it anymore because this is pretty much it. It's the result I wanted to get. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have and you want me to be able to do more stuff in the future, please consider supporting my work in one of the ways explained in the description below, with a donation, by getting me something off my Amazon wishlist, or at least by sharing this to show the world what can be done on the web these days, because I think it's pretty damn cool what CSS custom properties can do. In any event, thanks for watching.